Hi there, everyone. Here's some of what's heading your way tonight. Your news at 9.
New reaction from the Trump campaign concerning their election legal battles. I'm Ray Bogan. We'll have the details on that story coming up.
Ottawa County residents are making it clear that they want change after electing 2 new county leaders. I'm Zach Dodge with what they plan to do to make it happen, coming up.
The Joplin School District announces that spring enrollment is now open for online and in-person classes. I'm Chris Warner. We'll speak with one parent who's making a change and with district officials on what you need to know.
Public health officials across the country are scrambling to contain the coronavirus. I'm David Lee Miller in New York. Coming up, the details.
Jacob Leonard has weather tonight, a little bit of sports as well. This is KOM News at 9 on Fox 14.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Abbey. President Trump and his campaign continue to dispute results of the 2020 presidential election. His legal team is focusing in on a number of states where they believe there were voting irregularities, also fraud. It comes as President-elect Joe Biden pushes forward, revealing what his plans are once he takes office. Fox News correspondent Ray Bogan reports.
4 years ago today, then President Obama invited President-elect Trump to the White House to congratulate him on his 2016 victory. Flash forward to 2020, President Trump is tweeting, "Ballot counting abuse and we will win." In Pennsylvania, the campaign is seeking to block the certification of election results, claiming there is a 2-track voting system that holds in-person and mail votes to different standards.
If you voted in person in Pennsylvania, you were subjected to rigorous security standards, checking voter ID. If you mailed in a ballot, which 2.65 million Pennsylvanians did, there were no such safeguards.
Critics say the allegations are baseless and would not be significant enough to change the results.
It is clear there is no possible pathway for the president to overturn these results, and we are beginning to threaten the foundations of our democracy.
I just think it's an embarrassment, quite frankly.
After being declared the projected winner, President-elect Joe Biden has kept his focus on how his administration would combat the coronavirus. His campaign says on his first day in office, Biden will issue executive orders aimed at reinstating DACA, rejoining the Paris Climate Agreement and the World Health Organization, and repealing President Trump's travel ban on Muslim-majority countries.
The fact that they're not willing to acknowledge we won at this point is not of much consequence in our planning and what we're able to do.
Joe Biden is hoping the federal government will officially certify him the winner, so his incoming administration will have access to money and other transition resources. Ray Bogan, Fox News.
Voters in Ottawa County, Oklahoma elected 2 new leaders, both of them promising change. KOM's Zach Dodge has how the two plan to make it happen after they take position in January.
I believe that the citizens of this county spoke, and they're wanting something different.
Change. That's what Ottawa County residents made clear they want after electing 2 new county officials, David Dean as sheriff and Stephen Chastain as District 2 Commissioner.
We're willing to work our butts off to give it to them.
Residents have been pushing for transparency from the county for at least a year after a fire closed the jail for months and budget cuts left the county with half a dozen deputies in 2019. At the time, Sheriff Floyd says it was because of a lack in funding, but commissioners didn't agree.
We worked hard to help the previous sheriff with his budget and finding extra dollars, encouraged him to do certain things, and he had some success at it.
When you have 2 very important parts of our local government obviously not communicating and obviously not working together, but yet they're all still spending our money and kind of making a mockery of each other, it's not acceptable to any of us.
David Dean wants to see some big changes, saying as a resident of Ottawa County, he sees firsthand the need to get more deputies on the roads and secure the jail, even if he has to get creative to make it happen.
County sheriffs are broke. Jails everywhere aren't in the greatest shape, but everybody seems to be able to work it.
Something that Commissioner Earls agrees with.
One of the things that needs to happen is it needs to be ran more like a business. We need to have a person in there running that jail, and that's all they do.
Chastain's plans extend past that. He's promising to improve roads and increase overall transparency and communication to give residents the change they want.
This community deserves to be represented by people that understand that they are the CEOs of this county, not those that are elected.
In Ottawa County, Zach Dodge, KOAM News.
Again, Chastain and Dean will take office in January. Jacob Leonard joining us now with our first look at weather. You go outside and this feels like fall.
Yeah, it really does. But I mean, when I got up this morning, it didn't. It was like almost 70 degrees. I walked my little man to school in shorts and a t-shirt. But then front rolled in, we got some rain, and it definitely cooled off quite a bit. Local temperatures right now, most of us sitting in the mid to upper 30s, 39 in Commerce, 34 in Pittsburgh, a little cooler, 32 degrees in Iola. Skywatch storm tracker pretty clear for us right now. You can still see that front. A storm system working its way through the eastern parts of Missouri. That's what cooled us off today and gave us that precipitation. Taking a look at your day planner for tomorrow real quick. We're going to have highs around 60 degrees. When you wake up at about 7, it'll be 30, but we'll work our way up throughout the day to about 60 degrees. We'll take a look at our next rain chances. Look at the weekend ahead here in just a bit, Jordan.
Jacob, thank you. Joplin School District announces it's opening spring enrollment for online and in-person classes. KOM's Chris Warner spoke with district officials about what you need to know and with one parent on why he's changing direction for his kids.
Sarah Mwangi with Joplin Schools says enrollment started Monday for virtual learning, and so far 300 kids have been signed back up out of the 1,400 currently on the virtual option.
So the numbers are very preliminary, but what I'm noticing is a lot of current virtual students who are electing to stay virtual second semester. So I am seeing a lot of that.
With recent rises in local COVID cases, the district says having this enrollment window is vital to ensuring that they have everyone in place in January.
So really we have to wait and see what those enrollment numbers do. If our virtual enrollment spikes, we're going to have to make sure we support that appropriately. If we have a lot of students who want to come back, we're going to have to make sure that we support the classroom appropriately too.
Joshua Shackles has 2 high school age students at home.
My youngest child is doing fantastic with the homeschool portion, but really misses the interaction from other students and teachers.
He says the virtual learning has its advantages and challenges.
So it's nice that it's self-paced. They can work at their own progress speed, and that's fantastic. But it does require a lot of extra supervision on the part of us as parents to make sure that they're accomplishing those goals in a timely manner.
So when the enrollment period opened up, he sat down with his boys and asked them what they wanted to do.
For each child, it was their decision. They really missed that in-person aspect, the ability to walk up to the front of the room and ask a teacher, hey, what do I do about this? How do I handle this?
The enrollment period is open from now until November 30th. Mwangi says if you're enrolled in virtual learning and want to continue virtual learning, you must re-enroll online. In Joplin, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
District officials say virtual learning is something the district will continue to offer even after COVID. We've placed a link to the enrollment form on our website, komnewsnow.com. USD 250 in Pittsburgh will be pushing back the start of its second semester by a day. The district's Board of Education voted last night to move the start of the semester from Monday, January 4th to Tuesday, January 5th. That Monday will now be used as a work day for teachers to get ready for returning students. USD 250 also announced a new partnership with the City of Pittsburgh to provide a private 4G LTE network to families in need. The network, called DragonNet, will give internet access for education purposes to around 500 students at no cost. The district is receiving more than $500,000 in state grants to set up antennas throughout Pittsburgh for this network. Officials expect DragonNet to be up and running by the end of the year. In tonight's KOAM News Now Instant Poll, we're asking, what education changes do you expect for the students in your household next semester? We're talking Joplin, Carl Junction, wherever. Your options are more online learning, more in-person learning, or no changes. You can vote on our website, komnewsnow.com/vote, or use our app on your mobile devices. Results update instantly on our broadcast. We're going to check back on the results periodically during tonight's show. Jasper County Health Department is reporting 2 more COVID-19 deaths. The patients were both men. One was in his 70s, the other in his 80s. The 2 deaths bring the county's total to 64. City of Joplin is also reporting 2 more COVID-19 deaths, bringing that city's total to 42. The patients were both men. One was 80, the other 97 years old. Still no end in sight to this new coronavirus surge, and public health officials say the 1-2 punch of cold weather and holiday gatherings are only expected to make things even worse. There's some good news, however, on the vaccine front, as we've been hearing about, and it could be a real game changer when it comes to containing the outbreak. Fox News correspondent David Lee Miller has more now from New York.
10 million confirmed cases and counting as the new coronavirus surge continues spreading quickly. The 7-day average for daily new cases is now over 100,000, with at least 38 states reporting a spike of 10% or more. The surge prompting a growing number of cities and states to pull back on reopening plans, including New Jersey, which just announced a new crackdown, including restrictions on restaurants, bars, and other businesses.
We thought we were getting back to somewhat normalcy, but I guess not.
But a vaccine could be coming sooner than expected. Pfizer reporting Monday an initial effectiveness rate of 90% on its treatment. The company could seek emergency authorization from the FDA by the end of the month, but it still could be several more months until it's widely available.
We have started to make progress in using a candidate vaccine and seeing a reduction in disease. But there's a long way to go.
And there are growing concerns by some governors, including Andrew Cuomo of New York, that the distribution plan favors more affluent areas with greater access to health care services. But experts point out the military is already gearing up to bring new health care infrastructure to those locations.
The plan includes temporary clinics being built in underserved areas in order to get the vaccine to people who need it the most.
And with Thanksgiving just around the corner, the CDC is issuing new advice. Have one person serve all the food and make sure they are wearing a mask. In New York, David Lee Miller, Fox News.
KUAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time to honor one of our 4 state heroes. Leon James served in the U.S. Army from 1938 to 41. We are proud to thank Private First Class Leon James, a native of Girard, Kansas. He's tonight's 4 state hero. Jacob is up next with a full look at the forecast, and a bit later, the Supreme Court hears arguments in a case that could decide the future of health care for millions of Americans.
Well, what started out as a nice warm morning quickly turned into a much cooler, a little rainy, and just overall cloudy day. Taking a look at the Indigo Sky Casino and Resort time lapse, you do see a few clouds there in the morning before that front rolls in. Drops some rain and then heads out. Taking a look at temperatures right now in downtown Joplin, we're looking at 36 degrees. Wind not very much to speak of, coming out of the north at 5 miles per hour. Humidity 89% right now. Temperatures across the Joplin metro pretty consistent, 35, 36, 37. What we're seeing across most of the area now. We did see a high of about 70 degrees earlier today, and of course that was early this morning and was about 8 degrees higher than what we normally see here on November 10th. But, you know, as we saw, it quickly cooled off. We dropped below 50 degrees pretty quickly. Temperatures right now across the area, 36 in Joplin, 34 in Pittsburgh. A little cooler up here in southeast Kansas, 32 right now in Iola. Now, these temperatures, much different than what we saw yesterday. This is crazy. You see temperature difference from yesterday. Most of us sitting right now around 30 degrees cooler than what we saw yesterday. 34 degrees difference there in Girard, 37 degree difference from what we saw yesterday in Chanute. A Skywatch storm tracker, pretty clear right now. You can see that front that dropped the rain on us and cooled us off is working its way out through eastern Missouri and on its way out of Missouri, but that is what cooled us off and what gave us some precipitation today. Most of us saw about 3/10 of an inch. Now you see some of these green areas here. That was around a ½ inch. Some of us in isolated areas may have seen a little more than a ½ inch, but you know, pretty solid rain across most of the area today. A future track for you when you get up tomorrow, we're looking at temperatures around 30 degrees. As we work our way through the rest of the day, we'll top out somewhere around 60. And then Thursday is going to pretty much be a repeat of Wednesday, only it's going to be a little warmer. So when you get up on Thursday, we're looking at lows that night, upper 30s. And then when we work through the afternoon hours, we'll see highs 63, 64 degrees. So it'll be a little nicer on Thursday. Taking a look at the day planner now for you tomorrow. Nice and simple, 54 by noon. We will top out around 60 degrees tomorrow afternoon. We're going to be dry the next couple days, but we do have some rain chances in working in on Friday. Those rain chances could stick around into Saturday, but temperatures are going to be good this weekend. 63 degrees Saturday and Sunday, but Monday and Tuesday, early next week, we will be cooler, highs in the mid-50s, but then, we will be dry early next week.
Yeah, high 30s, 30 degrees, 37 degrees, 39 degrees. Just feel like, again, fall-like temperatures at nighttime.
It could be way worse, but, for November, it's about time it gets colder.
Yeah. Jacob Leonard, thank you so much. Coming up, the Affordable Care Act challenge.
The Supreme Court heard oral arguments on the Affordable Care Act, but will the conservative justices rule in favor or against it? I'm Lauren Blanchard. Plus, the president-elect made the Affordable Care Act the focus of his speech today.
The Vatican has released its long-awaited report into the rise and fall of former U.S. Cardinal Theodore McCarrick. It exposes failures that allowed him to move up through the ranks despite repeated allegations of sexual abuse. The report says Pope John Paul II made McCarrick a cardinal despite knowing about the allegations, instead believing McCarrick's denials. U.S. Supreme Court heard oral arguments on the future of the Affordable Care Act. The suit is backed by the Trump administration, and it says Obamacare is unconstitutional despite getting rid of the individual mandate, the penalty for not having insurance. Although the case is likely not going to be decided for months, we have a better idea which way the jurists are leaning. Fox News correspondent Lauren Blanchard has the latest now from the nation's highest court.
We're going to do everything in our power to ease the burden of health care on you and your families.
President-elect Joe Biden, along with his Vice President-elect Kamala Harris, laid out their plans for the future of the Affordable Care Act, the landmark health care law put in place while Biden served as the vice president.
This doesn't need to be a partisan issue. It's a human issue.
For the last 4 years, the Trump administration has tried to do away with the legislation, even taking it to the Supreme Court, which heard oral arguments on Tuesday with the new, decidedly right-leaning bench.
The mandate as it exists today is unconstitutional. It is a naked command to purchase health insurance, and as such, it falls outside Congress's enumerated powers.
Even with the 6-3 majority, it appears as though at least a couple of the conservative justices may not rule in favor of tossing Obamacare in its entirety.
I think it's hard for you to argue that Congress intended the entire act to fall if the mandate were struck down when the same Congress that lowered the penalty to zero did not even try to repeal the rest of the act.
Democrats say removing the health care law would leave some 23 million Americans uninsured with no backup plan in place. This as Republicans have begun pushing back on the incoming administration's priorities.
I think the election made it very clear that people across this country reject the agenda that was put forward by the Democrats.
The ruling likely won't come until mid-next year, and if the new Congress reinstates the penalty for not having insurance, it makes this case irrelevant. At the Supreme Court, Lauren Blanchard, Fox News.
In tonight's KOM News Now Instant Poll, we are asking you, what do you expect? What changes do you expect for the students in your household next semester? Your options are more in-person learning, more online learning, or no changes at all. You can vote at komnewsnow.com/vote or on the KOM News Now mobile app. Here are some results so far. The majority of you saying, I expect more online learning. Again, you can vote on our website, komnewsnow.com/vote, or just use your mobile device. Coming up, Joplin Health Department saying the rising amount of coronavirus cases in the city has caused a contact tracing backlog. As COVID-19 cases continue to rise in Joplin and across the Show Me State, local health departments are having a hard time keeping up when it comes to contact tracing. KOM's Caitlin Shive spoke with the Joplin Health Department on how it's been for them.
According to the COVID Tracking Project, in Missouri, there has been a 12.9% increase in COVID-19 cases over the past 7 days. In Joplin, there have been 548 cases in the last 14 days, with 293 current active cases.
We've been at high points in the past. We are currently at a new high point.
With the increase of cases in the area, Joplin health officials are having a hard time with contact tracing.
It makes it more and more challenging to get those investigated on the same day.
Joplin Health Department officials say that as cases continue to climb, they are feeling stressed when it comes to contacting everyone in a quick manner.
As far as being overwhelmed, we are a bit stressed in being able to investigate all of the cases. We do have a backlog right now of cases. We are working on a plan to alleviate that.
Tolkien says that typically when patients test positive for COVID-19, they will know of their results before it even reaches the health department, a process that slows down their efforts with contact tracing.
The way that channel works, the laboratory runs the test. They will then notify the patient at the same time, and an electronic report goes up to the state of Missouri lab, and then it pings it back down at the local health department level. We have to receive it, log it in, make the actual calls.
In Joplin, Caitlin Shive, KOAM News.
Joplin Health Department is, of course, asking for everyone who tests positive to stay home and for everyone to continue those safety precautions. Coming up, if you like spicy food, why you might want to pick up some extra chili peppers on your next trip to the good old grocery store. Still time to vote on tonight's KOAM News Now is to poll. The question tonight, what education changes do you expect for the students in your household next semester? Your options are more online learning, more in-person learning, or no changes. Remember, you can vote on our website at komnewsnow.com/vote or just use your mobile device on the KOM News Now mobile app. We're going to have another look at the results so far here in a few minutes. All right, chili peppers may be the spice of life. According to new research from the American Heart Association, eating these red hots might help you live longer. Preliminary findings show chili peppers have anti-inflammatory, antioxidants, also anti-cancer properties, reducing the risk of dying from heart disease and cancer. Researchers looked at more than 4,700 studies related to chili peppers and illnesses. They found those who ate the hot peppers regularly, I don't know what regularly means, but ate these things regularly, had about 25% less chance of dying prematurely from any cause. Remember, if you like spicy food, eat more chili peppers. If you don't, you're going to burn the tongue. I Googled how hot is a chili pepper, and it gave me the Scoville rating, but it says this is incredibly hot. So warning, okay? 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming away. You're going to meet this 4 states' newest police officer. No, not the sheriff. That guy right there, a furry little guy with 4 legs. Plus, a Christmas tradition and fundraiser for college students is scheduled to happen again this year. Going to take you over to Crowder College.
A student at Northeast Vernon County School shares what Veterans Day means to her and why it's so personal. I'm Kate Kelly with her story just ahead.
Jasper County Sheriff's Office introduced a new recruit today, a K-9 named Arner. There he is. The Arvist Foundation donated $7,000 to the Sheriff's Office to buy Arner. Arner is named after Sergeant and K-9 officer Scott Arner, who passed away in the line of duty back in 2002.
One that's able to do PR events and chase bad guys at the same time. It's kind of a unique combination of things. One that's able to sniff out drugs and sniff out illegal narcotics. That's one of the mandates as well.
Go get the bad guys, Arner. Arner is going to be off duty though for about another 6 weeks as he goes through certification. The Arvist Foundation also donated another $7,000 to the city of Carthage, Missouri for a thermal imaging camera on a patrol car. COVID-19 is altering the way many veteran events are being held this year. Students over at Northeast Vernon County School came up with a new safe way to show their appreciation for our nation's heroes, taping digital thank yous right there. Students also performed research on Veterans Day, putting together a special program they've shared online. It's not their usual big ceremony, but this display is important nonetheless for these patriotic kids. Never forget our soldiers, right? One of those virtual thank yous comes from 7th grader Angel Burnside. KOAM's Kate Kelly shares what Veterans Day and sacrifice means to her and why.
I want to thank all the veterans who risk their lives, not just for mine, but for the whole USA. And I want to thank my dad, Antonio Carlos Burnside.
A personal thank you from daughter to father in honor of Army Corporal Burnside, who was killed in action when insurgents attacked his unit in Afghanistan.
He died at the age of 31, had 4 kids. When One of them were me.
Angel's memories of her father come from the stories her mother shares. She was just a little girl when it happened, but even then, her ties to her dad went deeper than most would understand. She says she knew the moment he was gone.
Before the men can even go to my mom, I started crying, and my aunt called my mom saying, "Angel's crying, do you know why?" And I said, "My daddy died." And when they got there, my mom's like, "Oh, my little girl already told me."
It's been hard growing up without him. She leans on her siblings and her mom when it feels overwhelming.
She just says, "Just keep him in your heart forever."
That's just what she intends to do. She's proud of her classmates for stepping up to say thank you to the brave soldiers like her dad.
I would like to thank veterans for allowing me to live a peaceful life.
I would like to thank veterans for keeping us safe.
Angel says she wants people to know that our soldiers are people just like us. They're sons and daughters, brothers and sisters, mothers and fathers. They just happen to be heroes, too.
Veterans are very, very brave for fighting for us and for our freedom.
In Walker, Missouri, Kate Kelly, KOAM News.
Students' thank yous will play in their 8th hour classes tomorrow. We're also going to be airing them right on this station, in KOAM News, our sister station, during our morning show. Joplin High School JROTC Battalion presented the American flag and decorated the graves of more than a dozen veterans buried over at Peace Church Cemetery. Other people were encouraged to stop by as well, talk with the cadets, and honor these veterans.
Basically, you know, we're a free nation because of our vets. And what better way to honor our veterans than to have those up and coming, which is our Joplin ROTC group coming and putting a flag out for each vet.
The cadets honored veterans at Peace Church Cemetery who served in the Civil War, Spanish-American War, World Wars I and II, and Korea. There's a new mural in Joplin. It's facing the B and Main Street entrance of the 56 Block Arts District. The mural was painted by both a Joplin artist and a Springfield, Missouri artist.
The inspiration was really, it's the entranceway to the Joplin Arts District, and we just kind of wanted to project all the magic that can happen with art. So it's kind of a fantastic scene that you would never see.
The new mural is sponsored by the Joplin Arts District, also Covert Electric Supply. Crowder College Foundation's 18th Annual Festival of Wreaths will take place this year, Tuesday, November 10th. The event starts at 4:30 in the afternoon with a silent auction in Longwell Museum. A live auction is going to begin at 6:30 in the auditorium. Holiday wreaths, some Christmas stuff, and food, as we're seeing right there, will all be available to purchase, all to help Crowder students.
If I get outbid, that just means that someone's been willing to give a little bit more than I do, and that, again, benefits the total amount that we raised tonight.
Last year's Wreath Festival raised $100,000 for scholarships and program support. Okay, in tonight's KOM News Now is to Poll question, we asked you, what education changes do you expect for students in your household next semester? Here are the results so far. The majority of you still saying, I expect more online learning. Now, if you haven't voted, there is still time. You can vote on our website, komnewsnow.com/vote, or use our app on your mobile devices. The final results will be shown over on our sister station, KOM News at 10. A bit later, I look at how it's going to be much harder for progressives to push changes on issues like taxes, guns, and redistricting.
If you got up early enough today, you got to enjoy somewhat of a nice warm morning before the front rolled in, the rain rolled in, also the clouds and cooler temperatures. Taking a look now, time lapse, Indigo Sky Casino and Resort. A few clouds in the morning, that rain comes in, and then in the afternoon, that front clears out. We saw mostly clear skies down there at Indigo Sky for most of the afternoon. The temperatures right now in downtown Joplin, 36 degrees right now, not much to speak of as far as the wind goes, coming out of the north at about 5 miles per hour. Humidity back up there at 89%. Now, temperatures across the Joplin Metro, pretty consistent. 36 in Carthage, 36 at Carl Junction, 37 in Galena. Now, today, we did see a high temperature of about 70 degrees, but that was much earlier in the day. As you saw, got colder throughout the day of 70 degrees. Now, that is warmer than our average, what we normally see on November 10th, average 62 degrees. temperatures right now, we're still pretty cool and pretty consistent across the area. 37 in Stockton, 33 in Nevada, a little cooler in southeast Kansas, 31 right now in Iola, 36 in Parsons. Now those temperatures that we are seeing right now, much colder than what we saw at this time yesterday. Most of the area around 30 degrees cooler right now than what we saw yesterday. So big change in the last 24 hours. The Skywatch storm tracker, not much going on right now. You do see that front that worked through today. It has worked its way out of the area and now working its way east of Missouri. So that is out of our area right now. And we did see about 0.3 of an inch throughout most of the area. As far as precipitation goes, you see some of these green spots where that front rolled through. Some of us saw a ½ inch of precipitation. Some of us in isolated areas may have seen a little bit more than that. Future track for you when you get up tomorrow morning. It's going to be pretty chilly, 30 degrees at about 6 o'clock. Now as we work through the rest of the day and into the afternoon, we're going to top out around 60 degrees. And Thursday is going to be much of the same. It's just going to be a tad bit warmer when you get up and out of bed. On Thursday morning, we're looking at mid-30s, upper 30s for lows overnight. And then as we get into the afternoon hours, we're looking at mid-60s for highs. So day planner for tomorrow. Give you a quick breakdown. 31 when you get out of bed, 54 by noon. Once again, we will top out around 60 degrees for highs tomorrow. Going to be dry the next couple days. We do have better rain chances moving in on Friday that could last into Saturday. But as far as temperatures go, the weekend looks pretty good. We'll be dry to begin next week, but also a little cooler, Jordan.
Yeah, 60-some degrees during the weekend does seem pretty nice.
Yeah, that'll be all right as long as it's not raining. You
Yeah.
can get out and do whatever you want to.
Play some sports, right?
For sure.
Jacob Lander, thank you. Speaking of sports, Neosho Wildcats looking to advance to the Final Four in the Class 3 soccer state tournament. Jacob is going to join us again with highlights from their quarterfinal game against Glendale.
Well, the Neosho Wildcats are back in the Class 3 state soccer quarterfinals. Over the weekend, they shut out Bolivar 5-0 in the sectional round for their 16th consecutive win. And Neosho right back at it tonight. Wildcats facing Glendale with the winner, advancing to the Final Four. That's in the first half there. Glendale gets the first goal after a penalty. Falcons go to half up 1-0. In the second half, Glendale adds another. Biak Lian sneaks behind the defense and scores. Pushes the Glendale lead to 2. Neosho not going to go away quietly later. Vance Montgomery gets the Cats on the board with the goal. However, that one there is all they got tonight. Neosho falls 3-1. Glendale moves on to the state semifinals.
Really just in debt to that senior class, and probably a debt, I don't know if we'll ever be able to repay. They just gave us so much, 4 state district championships, sectional wins, quarterfinals wins, trip to the state playoffs.
Glendale moves on to the semifinals, while Neosho finishes the season with an impressive 19-2 overall record. Now that's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
Democrats largely failed in their attempts to gain control of state governments in many states across the country. This means it's going to be much harder for progressives to force changes on issues like taxes, guns, and perhaps most importantly for them, going in redistricting. Fox News senior political correspondent Mike Emanuel has more now from D.C.
Democrats invested heavily in winning the majority in state legislatures with an eye on redistricting, spending big money in places like Texas, Pennsylvania, Michigan, North Carolina, and Iowa, but Democrats came up short, while Republicans won the majority in New Hampshire.
That was a big disappointment for Democrats and a big surprise for many who thought this was Republicans on defense, Democrats on offense kind of election cycle in the states. Republicans not only held their ground, but actually gained a couple of chambers in New Hampshire.
State houses handle issues ranging from taxes to gun control to police reform, and soon rewriting the congressional district maps for the next decade.
For the most part, the legislature has control over the redistricting process, and in keeping these majorities, we were able to ensure that the next 10 years will secure us conservative leadership in the states that we needed the most.
Leading Democrats say they lost due to a surge of Trump voters who also backed Republicans down ballot. And in Virginia, where Democrats are the majority, voters approved a constitutional amendment giving redistricting power to a bipartisan commission.
You take the power away from state legislators, from politicians,
who are self-interested, who want to draw maps that favor themselves and their party, and you give it to citizens so that they have the power to do that.
With members of Congress due to return for a lame duck session, there are signs Democrats are divided after the majority in the House is going to be smaller next year. New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez says she's thought about giving up politics, saying, quote, "It's the lack of support from your own party. It's your own party thinking you're the enemy when your own colleagues talk anonymously in the press and then turn around and say you're bad because you actually append your name to your opinion." House Majority Whip Jim Clyburn says calls to defund the police hurt Democratic congressional candidates, including freshman Joe Cunningham, who lost in South Carolina. Now there are calls by Ocasio-Cortez for Democrats to address very deep divisions in their party. In Washington, Mike Emanuel, Fox News.
Gonna check out a Back to the Future cameo by Michael J. Fox. Hollywood Nation, coming your way. I have no idea who this guy is. Maybe you do. Lil Nas X goes Back to the Future for the holidays. A holiday sequel bringing a new twist. An action flick goes for part 4. Here's Fox's Ashley Dvorkin with Hollywood Nation.
I have a great idea.
Hudgens' holiday sequel, Lil Nas X fires up the flux capacitor, and Banning is back in the Hollywood Nation.
I'll find you.
Gerard Butler will reprise his role as cinematic Secret Service agent Mike Banning for the Fallen series Part 4, Night Has Fallen. News of the franchise continuation was revealed at the virtual 41st American Film Market. According to Variety, Millennium Media, which is producing the film, say the plot is top secret. The first 3 Fallen films have banked more than $500 million worldwide combined. Great Scott! Lil Nas X has a big guest star helping him announce his seasonal single, Holiday. Michael J. Fox has a cameo in the trailer, which debuted during Sunday Night Football. The video is in a Western setting like Back to the Future Part 3 and shows Nas taking over as Santa Claus. As he gets on the sleigh, Fox warns him not to go to 2020. Fox shared the video saying he's thrilled to be part of it. Even Christopher Lloyd joined in the fun, saying, "It looks like where Lil Nas X is going, he doesn't need roads."
Oh, dear Lord, there are 3 of them.
And a look at Vanessa Hudgens working triple duty in her Netflix sequel, The Princess Switched Again. The holiday movie trailer debut shows Stacey and Duchess Margaret attempting another switch and introduces the arrival of a third lookalike cousin. The movie debuts on the streamer November 19th.
Off with their heads.
In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
Lil Nas X. That's our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. Going to leave you with video of a baby otter who's not Lil Nas X. He's just a baby otter, and he lives over at SeaWorld San Diego. Cute little guy. Be safe. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.